you begin to realize that they're going to need your help. They've asked you, and you're beginning to see these signs, especially in dad. And what kind of changes did you have to make? And was that all like, did that all happen in a whirlwind, like in a weekend, or was it just kind of gradual?
I would say it was more of a gradual progression. What
Okay.
what we needed to do was talk with them. As they talked with us, then we would listen, then we'd offer suggestions. I think I told you we did Meals on the Wheels, trying to help them with not having to prepare food, have that come in. Just for them, it didn't work. They didn't care for that. So now we're back to square one. So when we visited, we brought groceries. We helped them, kind of plan meals, make sure they had the things that were easy preparation. Then you just kept listening. And then as my dad kind of kept going more downhill, then there were the next thoughts. Oh, I don't know if they can stay here,
Right.
stay in their home.
Right. We just visited a lot,
Yeah.
Mylan. We were 2 hours away. So my day off was Wednesday. So every Wednesday, that was our day. We would leave our house after the kids were gone, or even whenever we freed up, and we would drive that 2 hours, spend the day with them, and then drive back after dinner time. So we were like, I feel like we were sort of a steady influence in their life. They could count on that Wednesday visit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome. And you mentioned, you said we talked to them, and then a couple sentences later you said we did a lot of listening. First of all, I think um, there's one of the things we have to come to terms with is that this is a one-way transition, right? It's not like we can engage and kind of reverse the process and everything's going to start getting better. You know that it's only going one way,
Yeah.
and
Correct.
so being able to understand early on, we've got to talk about this. We've got to communicate. I think it had to have a tremendous positive effect on the general direction of the relationship and how things went. How did you? Because I know that there's a few dynamics at work. Number one, like you said, uh, dad was a little bit more reluctant, a little bit more stubborn, may
Yeah.
have been harder to talk to or ask questions. Maybe he was struggling a little bit with, he doesn't want to be in this place and doesn't want to deal with it and doesn't even want to talk about it. Um, and I'm sure you guys probably wanted to honor them and didn't want to impose
Yep.
your thoughts or your questions or your concerns. So, how did you? Do you remember? Was there a way you really entered into those conversations, try to open that up? Because I think that's where a lot of people they get stuck right at that first part.
Right. I remember sitting at they always sat at a kitchen table and we'd have coffee or tea or something. And my mom, she would share her struggles. And
Mm,
then in front of my dad and us. And then I would say to my dad, "Do you hear, Mom? Do you hear that
mm,
she can't do this anymore? That dad, she wants to, but she can't. And right
yeah,
now, you're having struggles. It's hard for you to help." So we tried to take what their words were and help them communicate to each other because they cared for each other immensely.
Oh my gosh.
Even though he might have been reluctant, he cared what
hmm
she thought, and how
yeah,
she felt. So those were we spent a lot of time at a kitchen table just listening and then letting them talk and interjecting. And it was just like a four-way communication thing. And sometimes saying, well, what about this? Let's try this. Or what do you think about this? But when you said it happened quickly, no, it took time,
yeah,
to come to a final conclusion eventually. So,
Probably years, Mylan.
yeah. Yep.
yeah.
Yeah.
But those are that what you just shared. I hope our listeners picked up on that. That is powerful. For you to listen and really receive what she had to say, and then to turn to him and say, "Did you hear her say that?" I think too many times we don't want to. You kind of got to really get into the conversation, and you got to ask those tough questions. And I know there's a lot of times, Jen, my wife, she'll say stuff, and I'm not really hearing what she's saying. And I
Really?
wonder if we had a third party there. Yeah, because that never happens.
No.
But I wonder if we had a third party there that would pick up on those things better than I do and go, Mylan, did you hear that? I wonder how much more, because I love my wife. I love her like crazy. And a lot of times, things that I should be picking up on. I just don't, for whatever stupid reasons. And I think for you to be that third person to sit there and to be able to pick those important things out and repeat those back to him, that's really, really important.
I think in their
That's great.
relationship there was a bit of an imbalance from a strength standpoint, so that when we would join them, mom would be able to share in a way she couldn't share with just dad, and
Yeah.
so we offered that to her.
Yeah.
So I think she appreciated that.
And we reversed.
So you kind of played a little bit of a referee role.
Right. Especially because as that time approached, he was less willing to listen. You know,
Yeah.
that part of his life, that's where he became more defiant. Yeah.
Yeah.